Forțele navale sunt foarte importante în războaie, dar au un rol esențial în menținerea păcii și în politica externă. Diplomația maritimă permite statelor să-și semnaleze interesele într-o anumită regiune prin simpla prezență navală, care este totodată și un memento subtil al puterii militare pe care o dețin. Marea Neagră este centrul atenției, iar aliații NATO sunt deja aici pentru exerciții. Am fost la bordul celei mai performante fregate a marinei olandeze ca să aflăm cum se face de fapt diplomația navală. Invitații mei de astăzi sunt George Pastor, comandantul fregatei, generalul Jan Hut, comandantul corpului de marină și Rolf Vanes, ambasadorul regatului țărilor de jos la București. Sunt Cristina Cileacu, începe Pașaport Diplomatic.
Am fost primiți la bordul unei nave de război chiar de comandantul ei, care ne-a făcut un tur complet. Fregata olandeză Evertsen face acum parte dintr-o flotă a aliaților NATO, condusă de Marea Britanie, și rolul ei este să contribuie la apărarea aeriană a unui grup de atac care are în centru noul portavion Queen Elizabeth, alături de care navighează nave de sprijin, un submarin și mai multe fregate. Evertsen a ajuns în Marea Neagră, unde va face exerciții, dar parcursul ei are ca destinație finală Marea Chinei de Sud.
This is the Combat Information Center or Operations Room. This is where we fight from. This is where my operations team is set up with me in here in this position and my crew around me, so I can make the decisions. They will ask me decisions, and ultimately I will tell them to yes or not engage.
George Pastor, commander of the frigate Evertsen in Constanța Port. Welcome to Diplomatic Passport.
Thank you very much.
What does a Dutch frigate in the Black Sea?
A frigate like Evertsen is a frigate capable of delivering air defense. In 2016, at the NATO summit in Warsaw, we promised to focus more on the Black Sea and make sure that we show our NATO flag in that region. Hence our presence today as part of a carrier strike group operation. Our presence here is reassurance for our NATO allies, Romania, Turkey, Bulgaria, as well as support for Ukraine. As we all know, their territorial integrity has been breached by Russia, and us being here together with HMS Defender shows the flag and shows that we're supporting our NATO allies and also the Ukraine in this region.
But why the Romanian shore?
Why the Romanian shore? We have a long history of working together with Romania. We are 2,500 kilometers apart. Us, the Netherlands on the west, you on the east, doesn't matter. For us it's working together with a trustworthy NATO ally. Hence we chose this port, Constanța, of our relationship with Romania.
Fregata Evertsen are două funcții principale: capacitatea de apărare a unei forțe operative maritime, în cazul de față grupul britanic Carrier Strike, căruia i s-a alăturat în misiune, dar și de comandă, adică, dacă este cazul, comandantul și echipajul de pe Evertsen pot dirija un grup operativ format din mai multe nave.
We are on a military ship. What can it do?
This military ship is designed to deliver air defense. Our sensor and weapon suite are capable of taking out air targets at a long range, 160 kilometers far. So airplanes threatening a maritime force, with this ship, we are able to fend them off. But we're also capable of anti-submarine warfare, so detect submarines underwater and take them out if needed. And our third capability is deliver surface warfare. We have a Harpoon surface-to-surface missile system, and at a long range we can take out surface ships who are threatening us or threatening a maritime task force.
Recent, Ministerul Apărării din țările de jos a declarat că avioanele rusești au hărțuit fregata Evertsen în Marea Neagră. Oficialii spun că rușii au simulat atacuri asupra navei olandeze, dar și că i-au bruiat comunicațiile. De pe mare, lucrurile se văd altfel, tocmai pentru că marinarii sunt obișnuiți să aibă parte de astfel de demonstrații de forță și se intimidează mai greu.
And was it the case? Did you receive any threats or your allies during these missions?
We've all seen the information last week out, HMS Defender being threatened by Russian forces. The Netherlands also received some sort of a threat from the Russian Federation.
What do you mean, some sort of?
Some sort of threat means we've been overflown by fighters from Russia. We were not close to Crimea, we were in international waters, and that is a breach of an agreement, the Inksea agreement we have as a NATO, as Netherlands, signed with Russia. And therefore we did not feel threatened, but it was a show of force of Russia. But it was misplaced. We were in international waters. It was our right under the United Nations Conventions of the Law of the Sea in open water. There was no need to show Russia ability to us.
When you arrive in the Black Sea, do you also communicate with the Russians or just with the allies?
No, we also communicate with the Russians. We sometimes have contact on VHF, which is a telephone at sea. We can talk to them, make sure that we safely navigate. We make arrangements on how to pass each other and make sure that we remain safe together.
So, just to be clear, what is the purpose of these exercises? Since you announced the Russians that you are coming, they know that you are coming, you are making, let's say, some path for each ships.
So for us being here, it's a reassurance for our NATO allies, as said before, and also supporting Ukraine. For us, we also doing a maritime situational awareness operation in this area. This is international waters. NATO often comes to this region. The last time this ship was there here was in 2019, and this is part of a routine operation. We have all the right to be here, and we want to show our partners, Romania, Bulgaria and Turkey, our allies, that we're there for them, that we have each other's back, and make some reassurance.
În turul pe fregata Evertsen, comandantul ne-a arătat și o mică brutărie, unde uneori face și el pâine alături de brutar.
You smell the fresh bread. So we have a baker on board. Netherlands people, we have bread in the morning, a warm meal in the afternoon, and in the evening we also have bread. So it's good to make it ourselves. This is the storage. You can see all the flour, wheat from the Netherlands. There's a knife I can show you. There you go.
You have everything packed for 7 months?
No, we are getting some stores in from the Netherlands in a few weeks in port. 2 ovens. The baker gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 he's preparing fresh bread, and the smell of fresh bread in the morning makes everyone happy on board.
Dar, dincolo de partea relaxată a vieții pe mare, comandantul Pastor amintea constant de faptul că nu trebuie să uităm că suntem la bordul unei nave de război și că niciunul dintre marinari nu va ezita să-și facă treaba.
You referred earlier during today's events that this is your ship. Of course, you are the commander of the ship, so you have a special relationship with this ship. How do you describe your relationship with this ship?
With this ship? Well, I'm the commanding officer of this beautiful ship, the finest ship in the Netherlands, I would say. I have the honor to command 170 men and women, and I'm in charge of them. You can see me as the mayor of a small city. We have on board a bakery, we have a galley, a shop, so it's a small village floating around in the sea. But make no mistake, this is also a ship with warfighting capabilities, and we can deliver air defense, we can deliver anti-submarine warfare and surface warfare. But at the same time, I am in charge. I make the ultimate decisions what to do to use force to engage an enemy, yes or no.
So you are not the person to mess with?
Our actions also in the Black Sea, we mean no harm, not to anyone, also not to Russia, but we do exercise the right to sail through open water, to sail in international waters. That's what we do, but our intentions are peacefully. There's nothing of us that they don't know. We were sailing through the Bosporus Straits, and then 21 days we are allowed to be in the Black Sea. That information is open for everyone, including Russia. So we mean no harm, and we are peacefully transiting through the Black Sea.
What exactly does the support for Ukraine means from the allies' part?
We show them that we're there for them. We've been to their main naval port. We've been to Odessa. That is for them a signal that we are taking care of them and support their actions and support the government in their endeavors to
gain integrity again.
Yeah, getting the integrity again. So it's a diplomatic support.
Diplomația maritimă nu are o definiție exactă, poate și pentru că de-a lungul timpului metodele ei de lucru au evoluat. În vechime, acest tip de interacțiune se numea diplomația canonierelor, de la numele vaselor înarmate cu tunuri, care erau folosite ca o amenințare, dar nu ca un act de război, pentru obținerea unor avantaje sau limitarea unei pierderi în cazul unor litigii internaționale. Mai clar, diplomația canonierelor era o formă coercitivă de politică, desfășurată pe timp de pace, practic o alternativă la război. În secolul 21, legile internaționale pentru mări sunt clare. Acum, toată lumea se poate bucura de ceea ce poartă numele de dreptul de liberă trecere, adică tranzitarea prin marea teritorială a unui stat de coastă, atât timp cât pacea și securitatea nu sunt tulburate. Acest drept se aplică și în cazul navelor militare.
We are on the board of a Dutch frigate, military frigate, and we are talking, of course, about maritime diplomacy. They say that there is no diplomacy without weapons, is like music without instruments. This is a saying. So how maritime diplomacy works?
Well, of course, since the illegal annexation by the Russian Federation of Crimea, the situation in the Black Sea area is, I would say, somewhat unstable. And this led to a group of naval vessels, UK, US and the Netherlands, to undertake a trip and to branch out into the Black Sea. And that's why His Netherlands Majesty's ship Everton is here, and it provides an excellent opportunity for the Dutch Embassy in Bucharest to follow up on that and to show Dutch capabilities to, for instance, Romanian naval authorities.
Guvernele folosesc în continuare marina pentru diplomație, mai ales că tot mai multe state și-au dezvoltat acest domeniu. În plus, configurația politică a lumii și disputele care apar în mări și oceane au nevoie de acest tip de diplomație pentru a ține lucrurile sub control.
But usually, in order for maritime diplomacy to work, you also need the backup of politicians. How is in this case?
The mission of His Majesty's Everton is autonomous. It was anyhow going to appear here given the instability in the Black Sea area. And once we knew that was the decision in The Hague, we tried to make the most of it. And it's our network, the network of the Dutch Embassy in Bucharest, in the Foreign Ministry, in the Ministry of National Defense, that allows us for the two worlds to meet. For the captain, the commander of the ship, for instance, and General Hart, who came over for the event for the Netherlands, and Romanian military to meet and to discuss. And that is naval diplomacy, I would say, in action.
A vorbi sau a nu vorbi cu Rusia? Aceasta este întrebarea. Răspunsul împarte Uniunea Europeană în două tabere. În cazul NATO, lucrurile sunt mai clare. Este nevoie de dialog în condițiile în care aceasta este cea mai bună metodă să afli ce planuri are un adversar.
European Union and Russia will not have a summit in the end. What is the Dutch position over this topic?
Well, of course, we recently had a key NATO summit, I believe in Brussels, where lots of things were said in a rather lengthy press statement, and there, of course, the Netherlands, which was part of the summit, conforms to the viewpoint that the Russian Federation is unnecessarily, increasingly, let's say, aggressive in the Black Sea area, and that it's therefore important for us to pay close attention to this area and to therefore deploy assets such as we are doing now through His Majesty's Everton.
Politica internațională depinde și de capacitatea statelor de a gestiona disputele maritime. Conceptul nu este nou, dar în acest secol trebuie rafinat, pentru ca politicienii să-l înțeleagă mai bine și să-l folosească mai mult pentru a restabili încrederea între țări, acolo unde ea s-a diminuat.
The Netherlands is well known in the world for the fact that is good over handling waters. So you are paying a lot of attention when it comes to seas and ocean. But seas and oceans become more and more important because everything is happening over there. The trade, the ecosystem that we are depending on, even the internet cables are under the seas and so on. Is the political world prepared to handle this entire new conflicts that appear all over the seas and the oceans of the world?
I would say that leaders in the West are increasingly aware of the sensitivity and the fact that this mission that I just mentioned, including the Everton, visits the Black Sea, is likely to visit also the South China Sea. I think it testifies to the awareness that in certain parts of the world it's important to prove there is freedom of navigation.
So the main enemies are Russia and China for this mission?
Well, I wouldn't call them enemies. They take certain actions, especially the Russian Federation, which are sensitive, and it's important to show the flag and to, through appearing in the Black Sea, to prove that there is indeed, in accordance with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, there is freedom of navigation. If you don't test it, if you do not show up in the Black Sea area, people may forget about it. It's important to prove that there is full freedom of navigation by being here physically.
So the bottom line is that if you are seen, then you exist. So these two superpowers maybe will back off?
Well, no, it's not a matter of backing off. It's a matter of showing what the law is. I mentioned the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, and by being here, making sure that it is applied.
Importanța Mării Negre, politică, de securitate, dar și economică, este în creștere. 3 dintre cele 6 țări riverane, Bulgaria, România și Turcia, sunt membre NATO. Alte 2, Georgia și Ucraina, colaborează îndeaproape cu NATO, dar suferă de pe urma agresiunii rusești. La summitul NATO din acest an de la Bruxelles s-a decis dezvoltarea unei strategii semnificative pentru regiune. Comandantul Corpului de Marină al țărilor de jos, Jan Hut, ne-a explicat cum se pune în practică această decizie.
We are on the board of a military Dutch frigate. Why in the Black Sea?
Why in the Black Sea? Well, actually because it is on our way to Japan, as you know, and well, we have a lot of partners here in this region. It is an important region to NATO, and we are here to reassure our partners that we are with them, and that's probably the most important reason.
This has a name. It used to be called the gunboat diplomacy, but in this century it's called the maritime diplomacy. How is it working?
Well, maritime diplomacy is, I believe, a way to show your partners that you are with them, that you work together, that you train together, and that you're going for the same goal, you live by the same standards, the same norms, the same values, and that's what we're here for, to protect those values, to protect those norms, and you do that with your partners, and that is the main reason.
Of course, you know very well that the Black Sea is strategic for all the countries around it, but also for Russia. Yep. So what are the expectations when it comes to meeting the Russian military ships? Because we had an incident a few days ago with the British military ship in the Black Sea.
Well, I think we are used to the way the Russians work. It is pretty standard. They accompany us when we are in the Black Sea. We accompany them when they are in our area. So that's not very special. And we are used to it.
So nothing special?
It is nothing very special, I would say.
When you took the job that you are doing now, that would be the commander of the Maritime Corps, you had in your speech something saying that expect the unexpected. What does it mean in your line of work?
Well, in my line of work it means exactly what the word stands for. Expect the unexpected. So you have to be prepared for unexpected things that happen around you. And that's the reason why I mentioned it. And that can be in a mission, that can be on operations, that can be during training and exercise. exercises, but you have to be prepared for the things that you do not expect, and then you need to be ready for them.
Being here in this mission also is a support for Ukraine, at least the commander of this ship told us earlier. Yeah. But can Ukraine understand that maybe the allies are here to fight for them, or misunderstand the concept?
Well, hopefully we're not fighting for them. There's also diplomacy. That's another way of dealing with issues, much more important actually. But you have to be ready. Sometimes you have to draw lines in the sand. But we're here to support the Ukraine. We want them to know that we disagree with the way Russia handled Crimea. It is their territory, and well, we're here to say, hey, Ukraine, we support you.
Since you mentioned Crimea, for sure Russia will not give it up too easily. So what is the bottom line of this mission, besides showing the allies and Ukraine that you are here anytime you are needed?
Well, I think that is the most important part, being here and show that we are with the countries that have to deal with this situation.
In a world where the wars is now hybrid and rather cyber, does a ship like this still find its place?
Yes, it will definitely find its place. But I don't want to comment too much about this subject anyway.
Atât pentru astăzi, dar rămânem în continuare online pe pagina de Facebook a emisiunii și pe contul nostru de Twitter. Revenim cu subiecte noi din lumea diplomației și a politicii externe, vinerea viitoare de la 11:30 și în reluare sâmbătă de la 22:30. La revedere!